You can feel it, can't you? The headlines are getting louder, and those whispers about a downturn are starting to sound more like shouts of recession. The market feels shaky, job security feels like a thing of the past, and that general sense of uncertainty can be completely overwhelming. For most people, this is a time to be scared, to brace for impact, and just hope they make it through. But what if that's the wrong way to look at it? During every major economic crisis in history, from the Great Depression to the 2008 crash, a small group of people didn't just survive, they came out the other side significantly wealthier. They weren't just lucky or well connected. They used a specific playbook, a set of strategies that turned widespread panic into a once in a generation opportunity. What if you had that playbook? Well, that's what this video is all about. We're going to break down that exact playbook step by step. We'll walk through the strategies that will not only protect you and your family from the storm, but will set you up to build real, lasting wealth. This isn't about just surviving, it's about thriving. Before we can even think about going on offense and chasing opportunities, we have to build a fortress around our personal finances. When the ground starts shaking, a strong foundation is the only thing that will keep you on your feet. This is the defensive part of the playbook, and it's non negotiable. First, and I can't stress this enough, is the emergency fund. This isn't just a savings account, it's the financial cushion that separates a minor headache from a full blown crisis. Think of it as your personal buffer against chaos. If you lose your job, have a medical emergency, or your car's transmission decides to quit, this fund is what lets you handle it without derailing your life, taking on high interest debt, or selling your investments at the worst possible time. So, how much do you need? The general rule is 3 to 6 months worth of essential living expenses. And let's be real about essential expenses. We're talking about the bare bones cost to keep your life running. This is your rent or mortgage, utilities, food, gas, and any critical debt payments. This is not for Netflix, dinners out, or weekend trips. If you're the only one earning an income in your house, if you work in a less stable industry like tech or real estate, or if you have kids, you should aim for the higher end of that range. 6 months, maybe even more. Some advisors even suggest that if you're retired, you should have 1 to 2 years of expenses in cash to avoid selling investments when the market is down. I know that number can sound huge, especially if you're starting from scratch. Don't let it paralyze you. The goal isn't to save it all by tomorrow. The goal is to start today. Even having $500 or $1,000 set aside can make a massive difference when an unexpected bill shows up. Where does this money go? It needs to be liquid and safe, meaning you can get to it quickly. This is not investment money. A high yield savings account is a great option because your money is accessible but still earns a little more interest than a standard savings account. The trick is to keep it separate from your regular checking account so you're not tempted to dip into it for non emergencies. Think of it like a vault. To build it up, you've got to be systematic. The best way is to automate it. Set up an automatic transfer from your checking to your emergency savings every payday. Even if it's just $50 a week, that consistency builds momentum. Treat it like a bill you have to pay. You have to pay yourself first. The second part of building your fortress is taking an honest look at your budget and spending. In a good economy, it's easy to let lifestyle creep set in. Subscriptions pile up, we eat out more, and we make impulse buys without thinking twice. In a downturn, that lack of discipline can sink you. You need to know exactly where every dollar is going. A great starting point is the 50-30-20 rule. 50% of your after tax income goes to needs, housing, groceries, 30% to wants, entertainment, hobbies, and 20% to savings and debt. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to analyze your last 3 months of spending. Print out your bank and credit card statements and put every single expense into a category. This process will be an eye opener. You'll probably find subscription leaks for services you forgot you were paying for. You'll see exactly how much those daily coffees or lunches are really costing you. Once you have that clear picture, it's time to trim the fat. This means being strategic about cutting non-essentials. Cancel unused gym memberships. Reevaluate your streaming services. Do you really need all 5 of them? Try cooking more meals at home. It's not only cheaper, but usually healthier too. Call your cell phone, internet, and insurance providers. Let them know you're shopping around and ask if they have a better rate. You'd be amazed how often a simple phone call can save you hundreds of dollars a year. The goal here isn't to live a life of misery. It's about being intentional. It's about shifting money from things with little value to things that create lasting security. Every dollar you cut from your wants is another dollar for your emergency fund or for paying down debt. And that brings us to the third pillar of your defense, attacking high interest debt. High interest debt is like an anchor in a storm. While you're trying to save, the interest rates on credit cards and personal loans are actively working against you, eating away at your progress. As interest rates rise during a downturn, this debt gets even more dangerous. Your priority should be getting rid of any debt with an interest rate over 7 to 8%. This is usually your credit card balances and personal loans. Mortgages and low interest student loans are generally considered healthier. So focus on the expensive debt first. There are two popular ways to do this: the debt avalanche and the debt snowball. The debt avalanche is the most efficient method mathematically. You make minimum payments on all your debts, then you throw every extra cent you have at the debt with the highest interest rate. Once it's gone, you take all that money and attack the next highest rate, creating an avalanche of payments. This saves you the most money on interest. The debt snowball, made famous by Dave Ramsey, is all about psychology. You still make minimum payments on everything, but you focus all your extra money on the debt with the smallest balance first, no matter the interest rate. When you pay it off, you get a quick psychological win that builds momentum. Then you roll that payment into the next smallest balance. So which one is better? Honestly, the one you'll actually stick with. If you're a spreadsheet person who loves numbers, the avalanche method is for you. If you need those small victories to stay motivated, the snowball method is incredibly effective. The most important thing is to pick a strategy and go all in. By building a solid emergency fund, getting a handle on your budget, and attacking high interest debt, you create a financial foundation that can handle the first shockwaves of a crisis. You give yourself peace of mind, and that defensive stability is what gives you the freedom to stop playing defense and start playing offense. Before we get into the offensive playbook, investing, career moves, new opportunities, we have to talk about the single biggest thing that will determine your success: your mindset. The market is driven by two emotions: greed and fear. In a boom, greed is in the driver's seat. During a crisis, fear takes over. It's that fear that makes people do irrational, panicky things that destroy wealth. They sell all their stocks at the bottom of the market, locking in huge losses. They get so frozen with anxiety that they miss the incredible opportunities popping up all around them. Your ability to thrive in a downturn comes down to how well you can manage your own head. The headlines will be scary. The news will be a constant stream of collapse and ruin. Your friends might be panicking. Your job is to stay calm, rational, and focused on the big picture. The first step is to accept that recessions are a normal, inevitable part of the economic cycle. They aren't some strange, once in a lifetime event. They are a feature, not a bug, of the system. History shows us that markets have always recovered. Understanding this gives you perspective. This isn't the end of the world, it's just a painful phase. When you see your 401k down 20%, 30%, or even more, your gut reaction is to sell and stop the bleeding. That is the absolute worst thing you can do. Selling in a crash is how you turn a temporary paper loss into a permanent real-world loss. Wealthy people know this. They know a market downturn is basically a Black Friday sale. They aren't selling, they're buying. They're buying quality assets from panicked sellers at a huge discount. You have to train yourself to see a market crash not as a disaster, but as an opportunity. This is a huge mental shift. It's reframing the thought from "I'm losing so much money" to "the assets I've always wanted to own are finally on sale." This doesn't mean be reckless. It means stick to your long-term plan. If you have a well-diversified portfolio and a long-time horizon, the best move during a downturn is often to do nothing, or even better, to keep investing systematically. This is called dollar cost averaging, and it's incredibly powerful in a down market. By investing a fixed amount of money regularly, you automatically buy more shares when prices are low and fewer shares when prices are high. This lowers your average cost over time and sets you up for huge gains when the market turns around. Another key part of the mental game is handling the stress. Economic crises bring a lot of anxiety, whether it's about job security, your savings, or just the future in general. That mental strain can cloud your judgment, hurt your relationships, and just make you miserable. You have to find healthy ways to cope. This could be exercise, mindfulness, or just eating well. It also means curating your information diet. Constantly watching financial news and scrolling through panicked social media feeds will only make your anxiety worse. Stay informed, but don't marinate in the negativity. Check on your portfolio once in a while, but don't let it run your life. It's also a great time to lean on your support network. Talking about money stress can feel taboo, but connecting with family or friends can be a huge relief. Realizing you're not the only one going through this is incredibly powerful. Finally, you have to play the long game. Warren Buffett famously said, "The stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient." This is never more true than during a recession. The choices you make in a few panicked months can impact your life for decades. Your goal is to be the patient one. Your goal is to be the rational one when everyone else is acting on emotion. This is a skill, and you can build it with practice. By understanding that downturns are normal, reframing them as opportunities, and keeping a long term focus, you build the psychological armor you need to not just survive, but to win. Once your finances are secure and your head is in the right place, it's time to go on offense. A crisis creates a massive shift in the economy. While many industries get hit hard, others become more important than ever. People who can adapt, learn new skills, and find new ways to make money won't just get by. They'll come out of this in a much stronger position. First up on offense, recession proof your career. In a downturn, layoffs become common as companies start cutting costs. The idea of a safe job is pretty much a fantasy, but some jobs and industries are way more resilient than others. The key is to make yourself indispensable. Start with an honest look at your current job. Industries that rely on people spending extra money, like luxury goods, fancy travel, and certain types of manufacturing, are often the first to feel the pain. On the flip side, recession resistant industries are the ones that provide things people can't live without. These include healthcare. People get sick no matter what the economy is doing. Doctors, nurses, and medical techs are always in demand. Utilities. We all need electricity, water, and heat. Utility jobs are famously stable. Consumer staples. Think about companies that make food, drinks, and household products like toilet paper and soap. People always buy these things. IT and cybersecurity. As the world becomes more digital, the need to protect all that data becomes critical. Cybersecurity is a field that often gets more funding during uncertain times. Education. During recessions, many people go back to school to get more competitive in the job market, which keeps educators and trainers busy. Skilled trades, plumbers, electricians, and auto mechanics stay in demand because things still break. In fact, auto repair can see a boom as people decide to fix their old car instead of buying a new one. If you're already in one of these fields, your focus should be on becoming a top performer. What can you do to add more value? How can you become the person your company can't live without? If you're in a more vulnerable industry, it's time to be proactive. This doesn't mean you have to quit your job tomorrow. It means you need to start building a bridge to something more secure. This is where upskilling comes in. Identify high demand skills that can be used in any industry, like data analysis, digital marketing, project management, or coding. There are tons of affordable online courses and certifications that can help you get these skills. A certification in a field like cybersecurity or data analytics can make a huge difference in your career prospects. Don't just learn the skills, use them. Look for projects at your current job where you can show off your new abilities. This makes you more valuable right now and also builds a portfolio you can use if you decide to make a move. At the same time, you should be strengthening your professional network. In a tough job market, your network is your greatest asset. Reconnect with old colleagues, get active in online industry groups, offer to help people. Your next big opportunity is much more likely to come from a personal connection than a random online application. The second, and maybe most powerful offensive move, is to build another stream of income with a side hustle. Relying on a single paycheck is risky in any economy, but it's especially dangerous during a recession. A side hustle gives you a financial safety net and can even grow into a full-time business. A recession is actually a great time to start a side business. Startup costs can be lower, and since consumer needs are shifting, new opportunities are always popping up. The best side hustles for a recession usually have low startup costs, use skills you already have, and serve an essential need. Here are a few ideas. Freelancing and consulting. If you're a writer, designer, developer, or marketer, you can offer your services to companies. Many businesses cut full-time staff but still need to get work done, so they turn to freelancers on sites like Upwork and Fiverr. Tutoring and coaching. With so many people looking to upskill, the demand for tutors and coaches is high. You can do this completely online, which offers amazing flexibility. Selling digital products. If you're an expert in something, you can create and sell ebooks, online courses, or templates. You make it once and you can sell it forever. That's a great way to build passive income. Gig economy. Jobs, services like food delivery or ride sharing are a flexible way to make extra cash on your own schedule when you need it. Local hands-on services. Think about what people in your neighborhood always need: pet sitting, lawn care, or handyman repairs. These can be started with very little money. Starting a side hustle does more than just bring in cash. It builds your entrepreneurial skills, grows your network, and gives you a sense of control over your own financial life. Even if it's just a few hundred extra dollars a month, that's money you can use to pay off debt faster, boost your savings, or invest. By proactively managing your career and building multiple income streams, you're no longer just reacting to the economy. You're taking control and turning a challenge into a catalyst for growth. All right, this is the part that changes the game. This is what separates people who just get by from those who truly build wealth. While most people are panicking and selling off their assets, the smart investor knows that a crisis is the greatest wealth building opportunity of their lifetime. Like we talked about in the mindset section, a market crash is a sale. High quality assets, stocks, real estate, you name it, are being sold at a major discount. The key is having the courage and the cash to take advantage of it. Those defensive moves we covered, the emergency fund, the low debt, are what give you the stability and cash flow to do exactly that. Let's be clear, this is not about timing the market. Trying to guess the exact bottom of a crash is a fool's game. It's about time in the market. The strategy is to systematically buy quality assets when they're cheap and hold on for the long haul. So, what should you invest in? The main idea is to focus on quality and diversification. First, let's talk stocks. During a recession, you want to focus on companies with strong fundamentals, often called blue chip stocks. Look for businesses that have strong balance sheets. This means they have low debt and lots of cash. Companies with tons of debt are vulnerable when sales drop, but companies with cash can survive the storm and even buy up their weaker competitors. Consistent earnings. These are businesses that have a long history of making money, even when the economy is bad. A moat. This is a term from Warren Buffett that means a durable competitive advantage. It could be a powerful brand, a patent, or a unique business model that keeps competitors away. You should also look at defensive sectors, industries that are less affected by downturns because they sell essential stuff. These include consumer staples, think Procter and Gamble or Coca-Cola. People are still going to buy soap and their favorite soft drink. Healthcare, pharmaceutical and medical device companies tend to have very stable demand. Utilities, these companies provide a steady service and often pay consistent dividends, which is a great source of income. It can be tempting to gamble on those high growth tech stocks that have been hammered, but that's a risky move. Many of those companies aren't profitable and might not even survive a long recession. A better strategy for most people is to stick with established high quality companies. The simplest and most effective way to do this is to invest in low cost broad index funds or ETFs. An S&P 500 index fund, for example, instantly diversifies you across 500 of the biggest companies in the US. By regularly investing in an index fund, you're betting on the long-term growth of the entire economy, which has historically been a great bet. If you have the discipline, keep making your regular investments all through the downturn, dollar cost averaging. If you have extra cash ready to go and your emergency fund is full, a market crash is a fantastic time to invest larger lump sums. Now let's talk real estate. A recession can create amazing opportunities here. As some homeowners are forced to sell, prices can come down. For those with the capital, this can be a great time to buy an investment property. Demand for rentals often goes up during a recession because fewer people can afford to buy a home. A rental property can provide steady cash flow and long-term appreciation. But buying a property is expensive and a lot of work. A much easier way to invest in real estate is through real estate investment trusts or REITs. These are companies that own and operate properties, and you can buy shares of them on the stock market just like any other stock. This lets you get into real estate with a much smaller investment and without the headache of being a landlord. Plus, REITs are required to pay out most of their income as dividends, which provides a nice, steady income stream. Beyond stocks and real estate, make sure your portfolio is diversified. This might include bonds. High quality government and corporate bonds are generally safer than stocks and can add stability to your portfolio when things get volatile. Commodities, some investors like to put a small amount into precious metals like gold, which can be a good hedge against inflation. International stocks. Don't put all your eggs in one country's basket. Global diversification can protect you if your home country gets hit particularly hard. The key takeaway for investing in a crisis is this: be a strategic buyer, not a panicked seller. Have a plan, stick to it, and focus on buying high quality, diversified assets when they're on sale. The wealth you build during the next recession won't come from one lucky pick. It will come from a disciplined, patient, and systematic approach you put in place while everyone else is running for the exits. If you've watched this far, you're already thinking differently than 99% of people. You're not just thinking about surviving, you're making a plan to thrive. This is a journey, and every step you take is building a more secure future for yourself. The strategies we talked about today are powerful, but they're just the start. If you found this playbook valuable, do me a quick favor and hit that like button. It tells YouTube this information is important and helps get it in front of more people who need to hear it. And make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. We're going to be going even deeper into all of these topics in the coming weeks, from specific investment strategies to advanced side hustle tactics. You won't want to miss it. Most importantly, I want to hear from you. What is the one action you're going to take this week based on what you learned today? Are you going to finally calculate your emergency fund goal, start tracking your spending, research a new skill? Drop your commitment in the comments below. Putting it out there is a powerful first step, and it helps us create a community that can hold each other accountable. So let's put it all together. The idea of an economic crisis is scary. There's no doubt about it. For millions, it's a time of fear, uncertainty, and financial pain. But it doesn't have to be that way for you. We just walked through the entire playbook for turning a crisis into an opportunity. It starts with strong defense. Building that financial fortress with a full emergency fund, a tight budget, and a plan to destroy high interest debt. That foundation gives you the stability to weather any storm. Next, we covered the mental game. You now know how to master your emotions and see a market crash for what it is, a sale. By staying patient and rational when others are panicking, you give yourself the single greatest advantage. Then we went on offense. You have a strategy to make your career more resilient by upskilling and a roadmap to build new income streams with a side hustle, giving you control of your own financial destiny. Finally, we unlocked the wealth building machine. You now know how to strategically buy high quality stocks, real estate, and other assets when they're cheap, systematically building wealth while others are running scared. This path isn't easy. It takes discipline, patience, and the courage to go against the herd. But the path is clear. You have the playbook. The secrets of the wealthy aren't secrets anymore. They are actionable strategies you can start using today. Look, you can't control the global economy. You can't control the stock market, but you can control your own actions. You can control how prepared you are. You can choose to be a victim of the next crisis, or you can choose to be one of the few who uses it to build a better, wealthier future. The choice is yours. Now is the time to get to work.